Hi, this is Elise Saunders from Tales from an Untamed Soul. I am so excited. This is the first in what I know is going to be many in this series. It is the amazing stories of untamed souls who are breaking through the barriers that are holding them back from living and creating not only the life that they've always wanted, but the dreams that they've always had. Today, I am with Scott and Kelli Keena, who have an amazing story of how they came up with an idea and how they implemented it. And now they are in process of creating their dream. They moved, they overcame lots of barriers. And basically what I love about their story the most is that they are just absolute risk takers. Not only are you going to come to know that they are authentic people and they are so genuine, but they are risk takers. And so they have risked it all to open their dream, a candy store in a tiny town called Humboldt, Tennessee. So let me bring them on right now.
Hi, my name's Scott Keena.
I'm Kelli Keena.
We are the owners of the Kandy Bank candy store in downtown Humboldt, Tennessee.
How long have you owned your business or been in business?
We've owned the business for
5 weeks.
5 weeks, but the process has been over a 6 to 7 month period.
And what were you doing before you opened your business?
I personally was in the sports world. I was in soccer. I was a director of a youth organization in St. Charles, Illinois. And Kelli?
I was a stay-at-home mom for 2.5 years prior to this, and then previous to that was a preschool teacher for 15 plus years.
How did you feel about what you were doing before in your lives?
For me, working in an area that was a passion. Soccer is what I've done my entire adult life. Which obviously goes back to my youth as well. So for me, I was working a dream job, but then it became more of a job. So I was always looking for something new, something different, and i.e. why we kind of came into the candy world.
And I mean, I was fulfilled, being a stay-at-home mom to both of our kids, one who's 4, one who's 12, both on different ends of the world, but there are times when you just sit and think there's more to it. So the more we started talking about this dream and making it come to life, it became a reality real quick.
So how did you come up with the idea? And what part in your life did you say, we should stop doing everything in this life and create something completely new?
All right.
It was always, candy shops has always been our thing.
Yeah.
Whenever we travel, we always look for candy shops. So we always had a dream that, hey, maybe one day we should own a candy shop. And we thought it'd be...
It was literally a conversation one time, when we retire.
Yeah.
Let's open up a candy shop. Wouldn't that be fun? And here we are.
Yeah.
We're not retired by any means.
No, and that was the thing. It was a dream, and it was something we were looking to do later in life. And the opportunity showed itself, and we pounced on it earlier than expected.
We did.
So what was that process of going from idea into reality?
Oh, it didn't feel like work.
No.
I think because when you're like a kid, when you're putting things on paper or talking about it,
I think it was
fun.
Yeah, it was a fun process, but I think the pandemic kind of pushed us a little bit quicker. We were in a position where, we, especially me in my job, you didn't know if you were going to still have employment with the pandemic and so on and so forth. And it kind of got us thinking about, if we did something for ourselves, at least we control our own destiny. So, as we traveled to Humboldt more to visit Kelli's parents, we started to really think about starting our own thing. And we stumbled across this pink building, and we decided to put the ideas into reality, and that was the process, really.
Literally, yeah.
What were the immediate roadblocks that you came up against? Either limiting beliefs like, oh my God, that's crazy. We can't move our children. We don't have enough money. We've never done this before. Like, what were those immediate roadblocks that you mentally, emotionally, or even physically came into contact with?
All the above.
I was going to say everything you said is pretty much what we kept talking about. And I think for me personally, it was always this, we've talked about it. It's not going to happen for a while, maybe 3 to 5 more years. And then we're very connected, and spiritually, if you will, in terms of all our stars aligned, everything was falling into place. It was a no-brainer for us to just follow that path and say, we got to do this. So we followed each step as it presented itself.
Yeah, but there's also those hesitations of,
income,
the financial, the biggest stumbler for us in the beginning was, can we make it to a point where this can, financially support our family, our way of life that we've come accustomed to. And so, that was the big one. I think everything else that came with it, with the relocation, we've done it before. We know how to move from state to state. We're very open people. We make friends pretty easily. We put ourselves in positions to be successful based upon, I think, our personalities. But there was always those moments of
always hesitation
financially, logistically. A 12-year-old now becoming a teenager, pulling him away from his social bubble and putting him into a new one. We've got a 3-year-old who's just, whirlwind, so she'll go with the flow. But so there was a lot of apprehensions, but I think the rule of thumb was we're walking into something that was going to be ours, that was going to be family, that we could spend time together and we'd be happy and healthy. So
that drove everything.
Yeah.
When I met you, one of the biggest things that surprised me, because you're talking about the financial aspect, was how risk-taking you were, even from a financial standpoint, because you said to me, if it doesn't work out, oh, well, we'll do something different. Tell me how you went from that apprehension into that space of, let's do it. Let's do it anyway. Let's take the risk.
It was, we always know that, from our qualifications and experience, there's always going to be employment out there.
There's always a backup.
Yeah, there's always a backup. And again, it's taking that risk of saying, well, if it doesn't work out, are you going to find that job? And, in the days, I always told Kelli as we went through this whole process that if it didn't work out and it meant me, working for UPS or FedEx or something like that to pay the bills, I'd do whatever I needed to do. It was one of those things where we didn't let the financial piece hold us back. We always looked to say, that's just a small part of it and, we'll be okay. Yeah. And again, I always can get a job in soccer. So, that's the plan B for everything, that me getting employment through what I've done my entire adult life.
That's a big foundation for you and I, but for our family too, is we've always created this bubble and supported our own little structure and our own little family. So knowing that and being confident in that helped us with this, going, if it doesn't make it, we know there's always something else. There's always other opportunities. And that didn't scare us because we've been used to it.
No, and financial's never been anything that scared us from doing anything. If you don't take that risk, you never know. And the day you've got to accumulate. Is it accumulate, speculate, or speculate to accumulate? That's
speculate to accumulate. Yeah.
So one of the things that keeps people from being risk takers is they get stuck in a routine of life. This is throwing your routine out the window. Your life has dramatically changed. What specifically related to the routine? Did you feel stuck? And how do you feel now from a routine standpoint of being in the flow with life versus control?
That's a loaded question too. I think coming from being a stay-at-home mom, which was very empowering in multiple ways, you do get stuck. And I think in any position or any job that anybody holds, you find these moments of just getting in a rut and not enjoying yourself, or you are living to work, not working to live, or vice versa. Is that the right way to say it? So I think being a stay-at-home mom, you find these moments of reward, but what's next? That was always my personal what's next. Could there be more for our family, not just the personal aspect from it, and then having the same kind of issues and work for you. I think you get to a point where it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, I think, again, I go back to the pandemic, pre-pandemic, I was working a lot. I was always on the road. I was always in a position where I didn't really spend a lot of time at home. And then being at home for the best part of a year, I think changed the dynamics, and we wanted to be together more. And I personally wanted to be home more. So I think the dynamic of that changed, our direction. But, as Kelli said, now you've got, trying to homeschool, you got trying to run a business now, again, we're together. So it makes it a little bit easier where it's not just Kelli at home by herself trying to,
Right.
kind of man the ship. But
we're used to transitions as well.
Yeah.
I think we've had so many, at least in our relationship, moves, children, just all kinds of family, different aspects that cause transition, and we've flown through it. So I think by now we're
yeah, but now we're still learning, because now we're in a completely different phase of, trying to do all those things, be at home with the kids, homeschool at the same time, but run a business that's got pretty long hours, and trying to make the business viable really quick. That's the biggest challenge we're in right now, is that the kids are not always at the store, just kind
making
of
sure
hanging
there's
out.
balance.
Yeah, so, but we've got Kelli's parents, which help out with that lifestyle adjustment, which is a massive help to us. But I think that's the greatest challenge, is getting the kids adjusted and our schedules adjusted to manage everything. So
when you were in the process of creating this idea and putting it into action, were there outside forces that were not supportive, friends or loved ones, anyone in the public that basically said, you've lost your mind, you should not do this?
No,
It's funny, we never really encountered that.
One thing we try to put ourselves around like-minded people, from personal relationships to especially family. It's everybody's pretty positive, and we kept his cards pretty close to his chest, and we didn't divulge any information until we knew it was a go. But everybody was super positive, and the people I worked with, my boss, Mr. Colbert Smith, he was super supportive, and Kelli's parents, my parents back in England, siblings, everybody's been super positive. So, not one naysayer, which is a good thing.
It's part of the drive too. It helps us stay positive through the difficult transitions. This is meant to be.
Granted, there's always, you always want to prove somebody wrong, right? But we never really had that. So it was a pretty smooth transition from crazy Illinois world to little Humboldt candy shop world.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
The moment that you made the first big action, the loan, the building, packing the van, whatever that first thing was, what went through your mind and how did you feel?
For me personally, it wasn't a reality until we picked up the truck to move. When the house sold and we picked up the truck, it was still kind of like that haze of, it's real, but it's not real because we're not living it right now. But when the truck came, and that was the stickler where I was like, okay, butterflies. Okay, now we're gonna see if this roll of the dice is really gonna work.
I think for me, it was obviously getting the building. That was the first baby step for me.
For sure.
Knowing that here's this investment sat there, and okay, it's real. You can't go back on it. You have to move forward, and that started the train for me. And then I think as things went on and we started talking about design and candies and what we're actually going to carry, and I kept saying to myself, is this a real conversation? Is this real life? Are we really talking about what we're going to do? And lo and behold, I think then the next one for me was just like you, is the move, the truck, and getting down into Tennessee. And it wasn't just another road trip. It was a permanent fixture
Did the history of the building impact your choice of having the candy store here? And how did the city of Humboldt impact your decision to settle here as well?
Big time. I think we're both really into history, and I think when you get into this part of the country, there's endless amounts of it. So walking across this building and finding out that it did used to be a bank in the 1920s, right then and there sold it for me.
Well, the building's over
130 years old, I believe.
Maybe around that. So
Close to that.
the history of the building was a big thing, and the town of Humboldt.
They've been over welcoming.
Yeah, they've been great about it. But again, we had a feel about Humboldt that it was up and coming. I think coffee shop was a major part of that feeling.
Yeah.
Milano's was a major part of that feeling. And the Mexican restaurant, the
Casita.
old school theater. It's got this dynamic that it just needs a little bit of infusion into it, and it's going to come alive. And I think we might be a key part of that start of that infusion. And so Humboldt was always a no-brainer for us because we had that positive vibe about it. So.
And everybody that we encountered, I mean, from the mayor to just local residents, it's been nothing but
everybody's been super supportive.
Yeah.
So you talked about some of the roadblocks of getting the kids settled. When you walked in the building and you were getting ready to open the door for the first day, what were the roadblocks? How did you feel? What were you thinking?
My life has been revolved around stock since day one, since opening. So I think that the apprehension was always going to be, is this going to be a business that financially, kind of supports us? And you don't know until you open the doors. And we did all our stocking. We put all our resources into making sure we had all the candy, for the opening. And I think opening the door, that's when you kind of say, okay, well, here's where we're at. It's either make or break.
We stumbled into it doing a soft opening, if you will, and opened the door, still in progress of finishing a few things, and people have been nonstop. It's been such a great...
And we still haven't had our grand opening yet.
We haven't.
We literally went through a soft opening to Strawberry Festival, and we're supposed to do our grand opening probably next week, maybe. But it's been such a whirlwind that we haven't got to our grand opening. So come see us on this grand opening.
You want to tell us what Strawberry Festival is and what it now means to you being a part of Humboldt?
Yeah, I think so. This year was the 83rd annual Strawberry Festival, and what we know of it is it's the longest running festival, I believe, in the United States.
I think that might be true.
Or at least West Tennessee.
Yeah, West Tennessee for sure.
And it's renowned. I mean, people from states away, hours away, they come and they celebrate. It's all about the food, it's about the carnival, the atmosphere, and people just celebrating West Tennessee.
Our first experience of the Strawberry Festival was as business owners. So we didn't really know what to expect. And again, post-pandemic, you didn't know if the crowds were going to be large or they're going to be small, but it was really positive. And, again, people like candy, and the doors were open and the place was full throughout. So it was fun.
Yeah. We're a tourist attraction. So I think that's a big player.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next year, because next year is going to be, I reckon it's going to be a little bit bigger, and we'll be more prepared.
How long did it take you from saying, let's do this, to the doors opening? What was that time frame?
Last summer.
Yeah, so it was
maybe July?
May, June, where we really started to look at it. July was when it became that's when it became real that it was going to happen. You kind of look and say, it's taken,
We opened in April.
So 8 months to get where we needed to be. Yeah.
So now that you're here and you're doing it, what excites you and what doesn't?
Oof. What excites me? What really excites me is the growth of the business. And I don't mean, the financial piece of it. It's just the kind of the areas that we're growing, from our gummy section to a chocolate section to a novelty, to a Brady section. Now we're adding ice cream, and we're going to open the vault at some point, and we're going to, we don't really know what we're going to do with that, but the options are endless and the opportunities are endless, and so that's what excites me.
I think the same thing scares me a little bit, though.
Yeah,
It's like the excitement and all of that, but then the scary part is making sure that all of that functions, and eventually we have to start bringing in staff. And if it keeps going the way it is going, is it going to continue to be successful? All those common issues that you think about.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that, if you look at the other side of the coin to the question is, I think outgrowing Kelli and I is the anxiety we have that now we're going to have to start to bring people in, and how does that look? And, because
this is everything. It's not just a business that you own. It's our way of life.
Yeah.
It's our business. It's our family. Finding the right fit.
Yeah, but I'd say it's 99% positive, 1%, apprehension. So.
What has been the biggest hurdle becoming business owners from a knowledge standpoint?
Well, we were both brand new to the candy
You're more
industry.
experienced than I am in that department.
But, I think, us both working for companies and not really owning a company, there's always learning curves. There's always stumbling blocks. There's always hurdles to be jumped and to be maneuvered around. And that's what's been interesting to us, is just seeing, how we operate from day to day, week to week, and obviously now month to month. And it changes each month. And, I think that's the education of it all, the learning.
Luckily, though, you have the savvy business mindset behind it all. He has that background, thankfully, for what we need. And I'm kind of the outgoing front of house, we both are, but at least we knew in developing the business, late nights reading about everything that we needed to read about, what we didn't,
Yeah, I think, just, again, the biggest, kind of challenge for me was, where do I get all the candy from? We're ordering from a small number of vendors as opposed to a large number of vendors.
So when I met you, you said to me, our shipment hasn't come in.
Uh-huh.
It's almost Strawberry Festival time. Just a little stress.
A little bit.
That was the big thing, is, the stress of, one, not knowing what the Strawberry Festival was going to look like. So we didn't know if we had enough stock or we had too much stock, or we just didn't know. So that was a stress, but I think we kind of came out on the other side pretty positive.
Yeah, and even in the middle of the festival, we had a massive delivery come in, and it all worked out in the end. So.
Right in the middle of the parade on Friday, I had a shipment, big freight come, literally at 10 a.m. and this had just started. So all the blocks were cut off around, so I had to jump in my father-in-law's pickup truck and drive to meet him and unstock the 18-wheeler onto the back of my truck and drive it in and then unload it. This was all during the parade.
Yeah.
Only in the candy world.
Behind the scenes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we talked about that day was about learning to let go of control.
Mm-hmm.
It has been my life's challenge. How has being a business owner, and how has this business particularly changed you as people?
That's a good question.
It is.
I think for me, starting the business, it wasn't a one-person show. So, I think we have that anxiety by saying this is us. This is a two-person roll of the dice, if you will. And I think for me, that brought us a little bit closer.
Oh, I definitely agree.
I think, we're on the same page on 9 out of 10 things. We're on the same page, and we're very supportive of each other.
Create more arguing or issues within a dynamic. And for us, I think it's done quite the opposite.
Yeah.
Even in those moments where it's a struggle, it's put that tone on things where you have to work through this, and there's a different entity that we're dealing with now.
Well, and I think when you go something alone, there's always that, it's all me, and that's scary in itself. And I
It's
think
all about us.
Big thank you to you guys for doing this.
The opportunity to talk
People,
about it.
the people around us, and we're able to share our story, and hopefully that'll inspire somebody to make that step maybe they were hesitant to take. We're living proof that, sometimes rolling the dice is a positive thing, and we're thankful to everybody in his life who's made this possible for us. Your mum and dad, Tommy and Pam,
Each other.
each other. It's been fun.